I'd like to call the meeting to order. Introduce himself, starting on my left.
Ashley Meyer.
Mary Ewald.
Grace Sales.
Sarah Cohn.
Moving on down the agenda to item number 3, approval of the minutes for August 13th. Is there a motion to approve as submitted, or are there corrections?
I move to approve the meeting minutes of August 13th, 2025, meeting approved as submitted.
Is there support?
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I would like to move that we go out of order on the agenda, and that instead of covering old business, we move on to new business, followed by old business. Is there support?
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to new business, HDC, case 2519, 2231 Carroll. I believe that's Carroll Road. The Yaklin family, if your representative is here, if you could step to the podium, introduce yourself so that it is recorded for the record, and then walk us through your project.
Niles and Catherine Yocklin.
Make sure you talk right into the microphone there. Yep, there you go.
Niles and Catherine Yocklin. Do you want us to sign in?
Yes, go ahead and sign in. They'll need that for the record. And then I have that you are looking to replace 20 windows at your home. And are the windows that you are replacing, you had a very great application, I thank you for that. The windows you're replacing, are they of the exact same size and style as the ones that you are wanting to remove?
Yes.
So those that have bars in the windows, those will be placed in the new windows as well?
Exactly.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the applicant? Should save a lot of money with the heat bill coming up, too.
Yes.
Just as a FYI, I saved $300 a month.
Oh, wow. She saved $300 a month. It's great.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? The window in the picture that is crossed out, is that the one that's not being replaced, or the ones with the X's are the ones that are being replaced? Okay.
And I assume oh. As far as your sills, and are you replacing the wood around as well? Are they coming in and fixing all your sills and everything on the outside as well?
Yeah. She said that they are replacing those sills that are rotted and in bad shape. Okay. Are there any other?
Will the shutters be staying?
The shutters will be removed when we have the house painted next summer,
Okay.
and they'll be repainted.
Are there any other questions for the applicant, or is there a motion to approve?
I move that the Historic District Commission approve a certificate of appropriateness for all work described and depicted by the work review application for case HDC 25-19 submitted by the applicant. The applicant has demonstrated the work will comply with the U.S. Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation 1 through 6 and 9, as well as Section 6411C of the city's Historic District Preservation Regulations.
Second.
It's been moved and supported to grant a certificate of appropriateness. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for all your help. If you can follow up with Terry in the office, he will give you anything else that you need to keep your project moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on down the agenda, is there any public comment on any non-agenda item? Hearing none, is there any public comment on an agenda item? Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. This is just a follow-up to our meeting last week with OmniFiber. Regarding OmniFiber, those utility cabinets, we did have a motion that was made, supported, and passed at the last meeting that directed Terry to provide our comments to the Planning Commission. We also had requested that the city attorney provide us with some further interpretation of the Bay City Code of Ordinance that were germane to the situation. And I did look at it. It says that we do not have the authority to review alterations within the public right-of-way. It does say that it can include that if the local ordinance dictates it and ours does not. So the only thing that we would have would be to provide comments to the Planning Commission. It is my understanding that Terry has spoken with several people. The Planning Commission meeting is coming up, so I think that our piece of this puzzle has been completed. Am I correct, Terry?
And yes, because as the memo did state, that it is a review and those comments are received. So similar to my way of thinking when I was at the meeting and was reading from the ordinance, and it said, distribute those copies to the public utility providers, and, it had that short list there, including the Historic District Commission. And similar to what I said as far as that review, when I send out those reviews, I receive all those comments back from who it was distributed to, and then I include that in the staff report. There's a section for all the departments, and then I plug in any of the comments that I received. So,
Thank you very much.
Can we include this memo on the record? Is there, I don't know if you'd put that in the minutes.
I don't think it's marked confidential or anything like that.
No, I think that we can put it with.
Right, yeah, because
that.
that was the intent, was it was something to be shared,
Right.
to the historic district.
I only bring it up, frankly, because she is forthcoming in saying that, or I'm sorry, this is not a definite determination, but just the best he could tell with what seemed like a very little bit to go on. So I just want, for the record, it to be noted that.
I think we should have a copy of that at least in the office so that if an issue comes up again, given the same set of facts, okay, but if perhaps the fact pattern is somewhat different, it may necessitate at the time some additional investigation by Neil in the office, in the attorney's office.
Yeah, when I had my conversation with Neil, I did tell him that, I had not called the State Historic Preservation Office, so I was, just in that meeting explaining what had occurred at the Historic District Commission, but I did not go as far as picking up, and calling the State Historic Preservation Office and talking to them. What I guess surprised me looking at that Vassar ordinance was the fact that all these ordinances, when they're adopted, they actually get reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office. Most of all the ones that I've seen are pretty template from, all the others. So, and then some of them have been customized. So that's where I see that Vassar, did have some definitions that we don't have in our ordinance because it uses the term streetscape. So that obviously had to have been vetted through the State Historic Preservation Office, but yeah, there was quite a bit more in the other ordinance than I had seen previously in other Historic District Commission ordinances.
In my opinion, it's a little concerning that our ordinance does not state that in some capacity. I also would be curious to know what the Preservation Office, that we can't be the first ones that have, had this come before us. So I would be curious if there's any, if they have any opinion or if there's any precedent from their end. So I guess I'd like to leave it as almost like an ongoing conversation, not like a definite,
I think it would
end
be
all be all.
interesting to look at places like Grand Rapids and Ann Arbor, where they certainly have more extensive stuff, and just kind of see what they have.
And maybe they have some great way of handling it, whether it be, a screening or some just way of masking it that makes it a little more attractive but is more functional. I don't know. But I would be curious to see what other communities are doing.
And I will make the phone call to the State Historic Preservation Office and give you an update at our meeting next on that.
And it would be maybe something to revisit, the ordinance and see, if maybe some modification is needed there.
I think once Terry gets some more information, I think that would be something that we could look at and maybe pursue. Moving on down the agenda, other business. Terry, do you have any other business?
No, I don't. We have two cases for the September 10th meeting. One of them kind of came in a little bit late, but we're going to try to get it on the September 10th meeting because we realized after a change of the Planning Commission meeting date that we were actually the same date of the Historic District Commission. So the HDC starts at 6, the Planning Commission 6:30, but what we're trying to do is get that case for we can get it off the docket at the next meeting. The filing deadline for that September 24th meeting is September 3rd. So I haven't spoke to anybody specifically for a case. So if all goes well, we'll be able to get the two cases on the September 10th meeting, and then it'll clear the calendar for September 24th.
And are they windows or?
One of them was a chimney that is deteriorated. There's no need for the chimney. So right now they were asked to do a notice to proceed, which is a different application than the certificate of appropriateness. So I was expecting that today. So I'll have to track that down. And then the other thing that they had on their agenda besides was a back door and a storm door to the back of the house. Yep.
Okay. Hearing no other business, is there a motion to adjourn at 6:15?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Support, is there all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:15.
Wow, that was a quick one. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.